Chapter 6, Section 5, Slope, Apprentice Level. This video is going to expand on what was mentioned in the first video, and that was this idea of slope, meaning how do you actually measure the steepness of a line. So here I have a line segment, and I want to know, how do I measure its steepness? How steep is it, or how shallow is it? If I have more than one line, how do I compare the two? How much steeper or shallower is one line compared to the other? And that's a useful tool to know, because if you're designing a road, you want to be able to measure its steepness to make sure that it is not too steep and too dangerous to drive. Of course, Wile E. Coyote, we don't care, because no matter what he does, he's going to crash and burn. So what we need to do is we need to be able to measure changes in position from one point to the next. So an obvious remedy to that is to make a graph. So that's what we have below. So I have that same line segment, and here it appears again. I haven't changed anything, but I've just put a graph around it. So now with these little squares, it's a lot easier for me to measure how the position is changing from one point to another, horizontally and vertically. So once again, the steepness of a line is defined as the slope. That's how steep it is. All right, so let's actually define it, though, physically, graphically, and algebraically. So physically, what it means, it's the rate of change. Okay, so it's how quickly or slowly something changes. Okay, and things in the world are always changing. Okay, so we have to be able to measure that change. Graphically, what does that mean? What does slope mean graphically? Well, it is the vertical change in y as x changes horizontally. So as the graph shifts up or down, we look at that as x changes from left to right. Algebraically, what does it mean? Well, it's the vertical change in y divided by the horizontal change in x. So it's actually a ratio. Vertical change in y is symbolized by this. It's just a triangle, y. What this means is change in y. This is actually a letter of the Greek alphabet. It's just like epsilon. It's just a different letter. It is delta. So delta y just means change in y. How much did y change from one point to the next? The horizontal change in x is symbolized by delta x, or change in x, meaning from one point to the next, how did my x values change? So the slope, therefore, is the vertical change divided by the horizontal change between 2 points.